It may be over 15 years old, but How to Train Your Dragon is still making feats around the world. Hey everyone, Joe here from the Collection Compass, and welcome to our How to Train Your Dragon Home Media Showcase. Yeah, it's that time again. We got another movie on the bandwagon. Here we have with How to Train Your Dragon, which has become once again back in the cultural sphere of media and entertainment, because we got the live action remake earlier this year, and also that I think it's Epic Universe opened up their Islands of Adventure, which includes the Isle of Berg, and I'm like so freaking excited for that. I was so enthralled by the announcement that How to Train Your Dragon is still reaching out even 15 years later. Just how much impact did this little film have back in 2010 to now spawning a huge franchise, TV show, now theme parks, and DreamWorks' first ever live action remake that was actually somehow more successful than this one financially, which again, it just proves to show that the story itself that they had in this original animated feature, it was honestly the right thing for DreamWorks to push at the time, because if you are not aware of, in 2010 Shrek as a franchise ended for the moment. I mean, now it's coming back in a couple years with Shrek 5, but at the time, that was the end of the Shrek franchise. They were losing one of their big IPs for a long time, and they were in need of a new franchisable material, as well as delivering great stories, and this was just the perfect combination of two. It came at the right time, the right place, and it all started with this original film, which is what we're taking a look at here. Obviously, if you want to hear more of my thoughts on the original How to Train Your Dragon animated feature, please go to ActionX, where we have posted our movie review over on After the Theater, so you can go check that out for your viewing pleasure. But today we are going to be looking at every single home media showcase piece that they have released for the film since its original release back in the fall of 2015, all the way to now. Well, not really now, but just kind of to an extent over here. But so let's just get into a deep looker at this release. So first up, we have the original DVD. This came out in, I believe, October of 2010. I know this came after, just a little bit after my birthday, actually, so I wasn't able to get this exactly at launch. But it was still like something. And again, I love when they do DVD exclusive posters. So this is just Hiccup and Astrid riding on their dragons. The one review from today's is from Access Hollywood, which I hear about them sometimes. And we have the big, I forgot the name, the Red Death in the background, ready to fight them, trying to chase them down. Again, love posters that are original to the home media. I think that's really cool, and it gives at least that they're thinking of the TLC of the home media side of things. The logo itself, which honestly over the years has kind of gotten more sentimental to me, honestly. And yeah, for 100% sure, this is the more superior logo. No offense to the remake, that logo I did not like so much. I did not like really much. Over here, we do have another one-word review from USA Today. Oh, actually, two of them. Hiccup and Two Foots in one of those cinematic, like, pre-movie release slots, if that's like literally the closest thing I could say to that. And yeah, that's about it. They don't really promote much of the bonus features. They do have some behind-the-scenes featurettes on the making of the movie. This was at the time period where, sadly, more and more DVDs were cutting out of the behind-the-scenes content, moving them over straight to the official Blu-ray release at the time, which we'll touch upon in a minute. And yeah, this looks, again, for what it was worth, for the quality of the movie itself, it was well worth it. And inside is just a standard gray disc, because that was the cheapest version they can make at the time of it. Now, to stay on the DVD track for a bit, Walmart, as somehow they always got these exclusive deals, and I never had a Walmart near me, they had an exclusive 2-pack for the movie. For some reason, DreamWorks and Walmart had a really great relationship, and they're usually partners, so to continue the story from the film in some sort of original story that's meant for just home media collectors only. So this was part of a Walmart 2-pack, where not only would you get the movie itself, you would also get a supplementary story, which in this case was Legend of the Bone Napper, which they teased a little bit in the Book of the Dragons scene in the original movie, so they got to expand on that into a short feature featuring the cast taking place after the events of the movie. And honestly, I really love this era, because again, this was before the age of streaming, before even broadcasting movie exclusive characters in a TV short. This was all well before that era, and getting to know like, hey, the adventure continues in this original story that you have to pay a little bit more money for, but again, I think it's well worth it. So it's a connecting shot, which is usually how they do with these 2-packs, and honestly, it looks really cool, because it kind of tells one full image, and this looks, you know, phenomenal. And of course, obviously, the original wrapping for this just showcases a much more clear picture, which was really, really cool at the time. It does include more deleted scenes, more features about that specific short. Even for like an 11-minute short, they still went above and all else, and I was really happy with it. And I wasn't able to get most of these 2-packs live at the time because, like I said, Walmart wasn't relatively available to me, but, you know, it was very much available to me. You could have, I bought the single edition, the one included the 2-pack is the exact same thing. You're just getting that exclusive wrapping if you're saving it, but most times it's ending up in the garbage. But even just looking at these side by side, this is so cool. It really, really is. And I love it. I really, really do. And sometimes whenever I get the chance, I get to like combine them together for this one shot. Yeah, I really didn't. I'm enjoying myself to being a collector at times, because this is one of those moments where like creativity does go a long way for the presentation of it. Now moving onwards to the Blu-ray side of things. Yes, there was a Blu-ray version of it. It was basically almost the same thing, just a couple more extra features. Obviously, it's in 720p, so a little bit more nicer. For the, I believe 1080p was still relatively a new format at the time, but it was increasing on the size width of it. And then you had an exclusive Blu-ray version, which is just the 2-in-1, but it's just really a sticker. I'm like, for Blu-ray collectors, yeah, you kind of got on the short end of the stick. They didn't want to produce a Blu-ray version of this independently, so they just smacked it on the Blu-ray because they could just fit more stuff onto the DVD of the Blu-ray disc. So again, when presentation goes, it is what it is on that point, but, you know, for saving on space, I guess it's the better option of the two, I guess. But if you're like, you know, like I said, going back to the DVDs for a second, you know, again, presentation is always key for home media collectors, so obviously this was going to win as a result. And considering the fact that also on the last thing, on the original home media cycle, was the Blu-ray 3D release, which wasn't that popular, considering the fact they were promoting the hell out of How to Train Your Dragon 3D. Like, even though it wasn't the third movie, it was just promoting that, hey, this is in 3D. And honestly, rewatching the movie again for the review, there were a lot of shots in there that were specifically designed to be more impactful, seeing it in 3D in theaters. And, you know, obviously you had to get a Blu-ray 3D player. Nowadays it's kind of very much obsolete now. So regardless of that, you know, it's just, you know, it's just... again, like, Blu-ray at the time was slowly phasing out DVDs, but it wasn't getting a lot of the same love. But then again, it was, you know, at least a telltale sign that most of these companies were just interested in printing out the movie onto an official disc and calling it a day at that. But yeah, that's kind of where we were standing at least with the original home media wave. Now comes all the re-releases to get ready for newer films and such like that, and they were honestly like very rapid fire. It's like the amount of times How to Train Your Dragon has gotten reprints and re-releases depending on where things were at in the world was kind of crazy. Even if the originality wasn't quite the best, it was just like repackaging on new sleeves, new cover art. So first of all, we have the 2014 release, which came out just before the second movie's released to get people rewatched and ready. So this was advertised as the original epic movie, so both the DVD and the Blu-ray covers, which came out at the very exact same time, all they had was just the this was just Hiccup and Toothless flying in a very cool shot in the ocean, a red border, which usually I'm a big fan of, and that's about it. That was just a repackaging of just everything we saw in the original releases, just to get people ready for the sequel. And I'm pretty sure that it did include at least the trailer for the sequel, at least as an added bonus. Hey, the journey does continue, only in theaters next time. So it was, again, all about synergy and just getting everything right on that front. But when it comes to presentation, you know, if you are getting into the franchise at the time, I mean, look, I'm always a fan of the original edition, but this was I would say a good substitution for that. I would say that much with that one, at least. With that original 2014 re-release. Then later in the next year, as part of an anniversary release, they did release a new Blu-ray edition of How to Train Your Dragon, this time being just a simplistic cover. It's a blue backdrop with Toothless just being cute and concerning, as always, from the movie. And that was about it. That was part of an anniversary release for the films, I believe, for the company. So they decided to reskin a lot of their favorite classical movies. They did that for Shrek, Flushed Away, over there. They did it for all of their DreamWorks movies, so that was a way for you to get your favorite DreamWorks movies back on shelves, back in time for the anniversary period, so a lot of more people could pick it up as a result. And then that same edition was applied to a standard DVD edition the following year in early 2016, which, again, same thing. They're just reskins of the original DVD and Blu-ray, and that's basically about it. Then we fast over to the summer of 2018, where once again they re-released How to Train Your Dragon, this time most likely to get people ready for the third movie, which was delayed from its original release date a couple times. So they did still had home media cycles to hit, so they still planned the re-releases at their original time periods. This time being one with Hiccup and Toothless in a new shot not seen before in previous home media editions, but similar blue backdrop. This was both available simultaneously on DVD and Blu-ray, so again, this was mainly meant to get people ready for the Hidden World at the time, and it did include, I believe, a preview for the upcoming movie. Even if it was still very much delayed, it was still very much something you can probably get ready for at that time period as well. And then that moves into 2019 specifically, where just before the movie finally came out, they released a How to Train Your Dragon 1 and 2 combo pack, so you can watch both movies just in time before the release of the final movie in the trilogy, which just include them in their sequel designs, and same with Toothless, but it just is, you know, promoting both movies, which again, I believe the sequel outfits look way better, so I'm not surprised for iconography they used the sequel outfits, but yes, the first movie is available on that DVD pack. And then finally, then by the same time period that they release the 1 and 2 pack, they also released the first 4K Ultra HD edition standalone for consumer. But again, it's the same cover as the DVD and the Blu-ray, and you're just getting the same things from the Blu-ray, but you have now a 4K copy of the movie to play at home with your compatible 4K televisions and devices. But that was basically it, and then that's when we get to the golden stuff, which now we have the official 4K Steelbook, which came out just before the third movie came out in theaters again. So this is the premium version, the best you're going to get from an American retailer. This does reuse the original theatrical poster, but honestly, this looks really beautiful. Again, that original poster was so beautiful because it just looks so mesmerizing and everything. Seeing Hiccup bonding with Toothless, not knowing what is the outcome of it, and just how things are about to change for them forever. We got the sidebar, which is a very tiny version of the logo, and on the back we do get to see the classic Hiccup and Toothless riding together. I believe the shading's a little bit different on Hiccup, even from a distance. It just looks like they kind of just cropped it out differently. So yeah, it is still reusing existing assets, but like, you know, just even the minimalist work, just knowing what exactly works for the movie and what you can present to your physical media collectors. I think that's all that accounts for it. On the inside, you do get the 4K disc, which was brand new at the time, and the Blu-ray disc. These are the same discs that you get from their original releases, so you're not getting anything new on these one. They have the same bonus features and anything. And on the inside for sides B, C, and D, you just get to see a part of Burke and a sunset. Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong about that, but like there was other shots I could have thought of that you could have reused for this. You could have had the riders flying into the nest. You could have had a different shot, like when Hiccup and Toothless were first physically meeting, without, like, you know, this was after Toothless got captured and everything. So there was plenty of other options, but I guess just for simplicity they chose this one, which I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not. And lastly, the last official way in recent years that you can purchase the original animated series is in the How to Train Your Dragon, the Ultimate Collection Edition, which comes with all 3 movies and 2 of the TV specials, which, again, I mean, if you're going to do that, you might as well put everything. Of course, you are going to have to canonize the TV shows, which, again, for me, they are canon. They brought back most of the original voice actors. The storyline fits perfectly into the world. It is a natural middle ground between the films. So for me personally, that's what they should have done. But again, if you are looking for a budget buy of getting all 3 movies and getting everything in one go, that's the best edition for you. It does utilize the Hidden World iconography of the character, but there is a very cool riverbed shot where you see their original versions from that first film. So again, that's very cool to say. I would have wanted a little bit more extra content in that one. All the specials on there, but heck, we're taking the 2 TV specials we have. That's kind of where I'm going to leave it as be. And that is the most up-to-date way you can own the first movie. So that's a lot of content. And that's only in the first 10 years of release. We haven't gotten any official other re-releases since then. Obviously, all attention now is on the remake, which is a whole different beast. That's a whole different thing that one day probably I'll talk about. But other than that, that's everything that you can purchase in the home media slot of collections. But that's everything you can get in the home media run of How to Train Your Dragon, at least for right now. Perhaps they'll do another anniversary edition down the road, so to speak. To say it honestly, I really love this film a lot. I really, really do. Like I said, it spawned an incredible franchise with TV shows, more movies, more TV specials. They have done so much in those 9 years of, technically 10 if you were to include Homecoming. But yeah, 10 years of How to Train Your Dragon. There's so much. And even just in those 10 years alone, just how many ways you can own the movie itself. And yeah, there weren't the best original ways to put out the film, but honestly, you know, it's just very attentive to how DreamWorks was at the time to giving more people access to the physical version of these films. And honestly, for me personally, in terms of the DVD, obviously from an appearance standpoint, the original release is the go-getter. It's just, you know, it's just got that original release feel that like only the true people that were not the true people, the people who were alive back then to own that original film. But I still appreciate there's a 2014 version, there's a 2018 version, 2016 version. Like, there's so many versions of this film on DVD alone. So again, I at least give them the kudos to at least giving them a result, to allowing them to have, even for just the DVD collectors like myself. Same with the Blu-ray side of things. You know, sometimes might be a little delayed, but like they still get them out there for those people. Obviously, the one standard 4K edition, you know, eventually these covers, they are what they are. It's just never going to compare to the originals. And then the Steelbook, which honestly, again, like, the Steelbooks are premium items that they should put a lot of TLC in. They did the same for this one. I do admit, looking at the trilogy of Steelbooks, obviously this is the one that like I think I like the least, but it doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that they're all amazing, that it's really hard to kind of differentiate what the true winner is here. And again, like the fact that again, in 10 years of, you know, since that movie came out, there's so many variants you can purchase. There's so many editions you can have for your specific collection, and they're accessible. They range from different price points, but everything is accessible to you as the consumer to purchase what version you want for this film. Some might not be the best presentable, but some are. And I think it just depends on the type of person you are and the type of collector you are to how do you want to properly showcase this film specifically. So for me, from a DVD standpoint, the original is the clear winner. That's without, okay, so the secondary edition, the one in 2014, is second place. They kind of go down in quality, in my opinion, as time goes on. But if you want the true definitive version of How to Train Your Dragon on a home media, it's 100% the Steelbook. It's just, it fits the tone. You know, I know the phrase, don't judge a book by its cover, but this is one of those cases where like the book cover, in this case the Steelbook cover, perfectly represents what this film is about, and you kind of have an idea of what you're getting yourself into when you see the film for yourself, whether it's your first time or it's your 20th time rewatching, however the case may be on that cadence. So with that said, those are my personal recommendations. You can most likely get some of the more recent editions still on Amazon, still on some retail website. The older ones, you're going to have to go on eBay to search for them. But let me know down below, what edition of How to Train Your Dragon do you have in your personal home media collection? I would love to have a discussion with you about it, as I always do. But I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. If you're unaware, this has been Joe here from the Collection Compass, giving you another home media showcase. If you want to see the official movie review, to hear all of my thoughts about this animated classic, go over to ActionX. We have our official movie review live, so go watch it. Please support. Any little bit does count nowadays. But again, if you care about this type of content, please subscribe to us here on YouTube. Please like, favorite, share to assist us with getting this video out there to more people that love the How to Train Your Dragon universe, as well as please ring the bell when our next video is live and follow us on social media for more. But until we see each other again, thank you gang for watching. Please stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out.